Friday, Friday, Friday. Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late today. I have been working for about 2 hours on messaging in e-learning and working on things with my class. So I'm here now. I am ready to go. And I have a special treat for you today. In the text that I am going to be using is another one of by my favorite author that I told you about, Patricia Polacco. And it is about it, or it takes place around the time of Easter Sunday. So we know that Easter is on Sunday this year or this week. It's always on a Sunday in either March or April. But it is definitely this Sunday, this Easter Sunday, is not what we were expecting for Easter to be. This is the first holiday, really big holiday that we are having. And for the Jewish religion, on Wednesday, I believe Passover began for them also. So these are the first religious holidays and family holidays that we are having during our quarantine and stay-at-home orders here in the United States. So definitely not what we were thinking we were going to be experiencing, but it will still, I think, be meaningful and a way to celebrate and definitely be thinking about things that we are thankful for this weekend during this very holy week for so many people in those two religions of Christianity and Judaism. So today, this text actually kind of covers both of those. It covers, there are some Christian aspects to it and also some Jewish aspects to this text. So I am going to be teaching. It is one of her, I mentioned when I did the text Thunder Cake with you a couple weeks ago, that Patricia Polacco sometimes writes fiction, but a lot of the time she tells stories based on her childhood. So this is one of her nonfiction pieces that she wrote about what happened to her as a child growing up one Easter Sunday week, or one Easter Holy Week. So this week, or today, there's my little Easter scene at the top. I put Friday, you know I always do. And then I have my Easter eggs next to a spring flower. So hopefully we will get to celebrate. And the Easter Bunny, I know, has been declared an essential employee. I know here in here in the Louisville area, yesterday we heard Governor Andy Beshear officially declare him an essential employee. So the Easter Bunny should be able to travel and do anything that he needs to do Saturday into Sunday. But today we are going to focus on double entry journals. So this is something, it's similar to side-by-side writing, which I already taught you, but double entry journals, it's just kind of a little bit different format. You can do this with a lot of different connections and responses to some text, but I'm going to review making connections and forming opinions with your double entry journal today. So the text I'm going to use by Patricia Polacco, wonderful. It's called Chicken Sunday. And as I said, it takes place over a few days during what is known as Holy Week in the Christian calendar. But we know Patricia's family came from Russia, and I believe there is another text that I have taught with before called The Tree of the Dancing Goats, and Patricia herself grew up Jewish. So this shows that you can worship and be friends with anyone of different religious backgrounds. So we're going to read to find out what happened on Chicken Sunday. Stuart and Winston were my neighbors. They were my brothers by a solemn ceremony we had performed in their backyard one summer. They weren't the same religion as I was. Remember, I just said she was Jewish, and we can assume they are Christian. They were Baptists. Their grandma, Eula Mae Walker, was my grandma now. My babushka, remember Babushka and Thunder Cake, had died 2 summers before. Sometimes my mother let me go to church on Sunday with them. So even though she's part of a different religion, Mom said, sure, you can go. So that tells me I'm making an inference and drawing a conclusion. We're going to come back to that here in a few minutes, that her family appreciated people's differences, and they wanted Patricia to understand that everyone is different. I always tell my boys and girls, just because something's different, it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different. We have to appreciate and understand everyone's different backgrounds. How we loved to hear Miss Eula sing. She had a voice like slow thunder and sweet rain. We'd walk to church and back. She'd take my hand as we crossed College Avenue. Even though we've been churching up like decent folks ought to, she'd say, I don't want you to step in front of one of those too fast cars. You'll be as flat as a hen's tongue. She squeezed my hand. When we passed Mr. Kodinsky's hat shop, Miss Eula would always stop and look in the window at the wonderful hats. Then she'd sigh, and we'd walk on. So I can make an inference. Miss Eula is admiring the beautiful hats. Maybe she wants one. We called those Sundays Chicken Sundays because Miss Eula almost always had fried chicken for dinner. I can make a text-to-self connection. This Sunday, I'm having a different Easter dinner. I've decided to make some fried chicken myself for my husband and me for Easter dinner. There'd be collard greens with bacon, a big pot of Hoppin' John, corn on the cob, and fried spoon bread. One Sunday at the table, we watched her paper fan flutter back and forth, pulling moist chicken fried air along with it. She took a deep breath. Her skin glowed as she smiled. Then she told us something we already knew. That Easter bonnet at Mr. Kodinsky's window is the most beautiful I ever did see, she said thoughtfully. The 3 of us exchanged looks. We wanted to get her that hat more than anything in the world. I love these photos here. Remember Patricia Polacco illustrates her own work? But these, it looks like she put actual photos of the family there as a way to honor her friends and maybe other people in that family that she's telling the story about. Stuart reached into the hole in the trunk of our wish tree in the backyard. He pulled out a rusty Band-Aid tin. The 3 of us held our breath as we counted the money inside that we'd been saving for weeks. If we're going to get that hat from Miss Eula in time for Easter, we're going to need a lot more than this, I announced. Maybe we should ask Mr. Kodinsky if we could sweep up his shop or something to earn the rest of the money, said Stuart. I don't know, Winnie said fearfully. He's such a strange old man. He never smiles at anyone. He always looks so mean. But we all agreed it was worth a try anyway. So they don't have enough, but they want to get Miss Eula, Grandma, a special Easter bonnet. The next day, we took a shortcut down the alley in back of the hat shop. Bigger boys were there. They were yelling. Eggs flew past us and pelted Mr. Kodinsky's backyard, or back door. Just as the boys ran away, the door flew open. Mr. Kodinsky glared straight at us. You there, he yelled. Why do you kids do things like this? It wasn't us, Stuart tried to say, but Mr. Kodinsky wouldn't listen to us. All I want to do is live my life in peace. I'm calling your grandmother, he shouted as he wagged his finger in Stuart's face. Mr. Kodinsky, he's from the old country. Kodinsky is probably a name maybe from Poland. So I'm getting, he has moved there. We know Babushka was from the old country of Russia. So it seems like there are lots of people that have immigrated to this town in Michigan. Miss Eula was waiting in the living room for us. Miss Eula, we didn't throw those eggs, I sobbed. Some big boys did, Stuart sputtered. "What were you doing at the back of his shop in the first place?" she asked. We knew we couldn't tell her the truth, so we just stood there and cried. She looked at us for a long while. "Baby dears, I want to believe you. Heaven knows I brought you children up to always tell the truth. If you say you didn't do it, then I believe you." "It is bad, though," she went on to say. "That poor man has suffered so much in his life. He deserves more than eggs thrown at him. You know he thinks you threw those eggs. You'll have to show him you're good people. You'll have to change his mind somehow." You ever seen maybe these? Some praying hands. I remember my great-grandmother had some of these when I was growing up, and I'd go visit her about 45 or 50 minutes from here in the Louisville area to a town up a little towards Cincinnati on the Ohio River called Hanover, Indiana. I remember she had those hands, those praying hands. In my kitchen the next day, we thought and thought, "How can we win him over when he thinks we threw those eggs?" Stuart asked. "He doesn't even like us," Winston chirped. "Eggs," I said quietly. "Eggs?" Stuart asked. "Eggs!" I screamed. I went to the kitchen drawer, took out a lump of beeswax, a candle, a small funnel with a wooden handle, and some packets of yellow, red, and black dye. What do you think they're going to make? You know, at this time, there are Easter eggs that are very important. But we know that, I'm sure that here she, Patricia, because she has gone to church, so she understands the Christian, what the Christian holiday of Easter represents, even if her family chooses not to believe in the way that that Christians that celebrate Easter. But she may understand what Easter means and some of the symbols of it, but maybe it's something else that she knows from her background. Let's read. Mom helped me show the boys how to decorate eggs the way my bubby had taught us, the way they do it in the old country. We made designs on the eggshells with hot wax, then dyed them and finally melted the wax patterns off. We put the eggs in a basket, and even though we were afraid, we marched into Mr. Kudinsky's shop, put them on the counter. So these are special decorated eggs from the old country. Maybe they are a symbol of Easter. Maybe they are not. Maybe they are just special decorated eggs for spring, as a sign of spring in the old country. He raised his eyebrows and glowered at us. Then his eyes dropped to the basket. "Spasiba," he said softly. That means thank you in Russian. "Paisansky eggs," he said as he looked closely. "I haven't seen these since I left my homeland." "We didn't throw those eggs at your door, Mr. Kudinsky," we told him. He looked at us for a minute. "Well, then, you have great courage to be here. Chutzpah, you have chutzpah." That is a Jewish word. Then his eyes glistened and his mouth curled into a warm smile. "Oh, come in, have some tea with me." Aren't they beautiful? You have chutzpah. That means you have strength, you have good thinking skills. You're a go-getter. We spent the whole afternoon talking together, having poppy seed cake and strong tea. He told us about his life, and we told him about ours. When we finally got the courage to ask doing odd jobs to earn some extra money, he apologized and told us there was no work. We didn't tell him what we wanted the money for. It didn't seem the right thing to do, so our hearts sank. "I tell you this," he said thoughtfully. "Those eggs are as beautiful as my hats." Stuart, Winnie, and I looked at each other. "It is almost Easter," he went on to say. "I'm sure that people would love those eggs. Maybe set up a table, sell them right here in my shop." So he is trying to help them make some inferences, draw a conclusion, read between the lines themselves and say, "Hey, what if you tried this? I can't give you the money, but maybe someone else might." For the next few days, we worked very hard. We made almost a dozen Paisansky eggs. When people came in, they picked them up and said things like, "Beautiful, splendid, intricate, gorgeous." We sold them all in one single day. People wanted them for their Easter celebration, maybe to put in the a centerpiece. Sometimes people for Easter dinner will put decorated eggs in the center, or around their house. I have lots of decorations in my house right now. Some of them are some decorated plastic eggs I put out every year. I have lots of bunnies too, which are a symbol of Easter in spring. That afternoon, when all the eggs were gone, we counted our money. We had more than enough for the hat. Just as we were about to tell Mr. Kudinski that we wanted to buy the hat, he came out of the back room holding a beautiful hat box, gift wrapped. "Keep your money, children," he said softly. "I have seen Miss Eula admire this. It is for her, isn't it? Tell her I know you are very good children, such good children." So I can make a connection right now. Boy, my brain is connecting to this. I'm going to show you how to write those connections here in a second. To right now, a text to world connection, which I told you weeks ago is the biggest kind of most impactful connection that you can make. He's thinking about others instead of himself. Right now, we are working on thinking about others and thinking about ways that we can help and give to others too, even though we can't be around others. When Easter Sunday arrived, we thought our hearts would burst when we watched Miss Eula open the hat box. She held it close as big tears rolled down her cheeks. So that tells me she loves it. And she loves her 2 grandchildren that she's raising and helping raise their neighbor. So just because, look at this, you can tell immediately, just because there's a different religion, there's a different background, even a different race, she kind of has been adopted by Miss Eula, and she loves her too. Just because you're different, or just because someone is different, doesn't mean it's bad. Our hearts sang along with the choir that Sunday. She looked so beautiful in that hat. When it was time for her solo, we knew that she was singing just for us. Her voice was like slow thunder and sweet rain. We will miss our choir singing if you are a church-going family on Easter. I know I am, and I always look forward to how beautiful my church looks. I go to a church that is, and it's up to you and your family if you go to church. It's fine if you don't. It's fine if you do. I go to a very historic church here in my city, and lots of stained glass, and there are always flowers everywhere, potted flowers on Easter Sunday, and it smells so good, and it's just beautiful. Even if you're not a religious person, it's one of those days that you can understand the beauty. Later that day, as Miss Eula sat at the head of the table, she said, "Oh, baby dears, I can die happy now. And after I'm dead on Chicken Sundays, I want you to boil up some chicken, bones, gravy, and all, and pour it over my grave. So late at night when I'm hungry, I can reach right out and have me some." Then she rolled her head back and laughed from a deep, holy place inside. Not holy as in like I have a hole in my shirt, but holy as in church, meaning she's filled by her grandchildren. Winston Stewart and I are grown up now. Our old neighborhood has changed some, but it's still familiar too. The freeway rumbles over the spot where Mr. Kudinski's shop once stood. I think of him often in his glorious hats. We lost Miss Eula some time back, but every year we take some chicken soup up to the Mountain View Cemetery and do just what she asked. Sometimes when we are especially quiet inside, we can hear singing, a voice that sounds like slow thunder and sweet rain. So that page just gave me goosebumps, and that's why I love Patricia Polacco, because she does it to me all the time. She's a gifted writer. And I wish I had her talent. But so once a year, maybe they do it around Easter. She and her adopted brothers go and visit Miss Eula, and they honor her. Oh, melts my heart. So, and there's a picture of the eggs and some beautiful flowers around Easter. Now, I'm going to show you about double entry journals. Not complicated at all, but it is a way for you to get your thoughts again on paper. And before I do that, I'm going to take a drink of some water from reading. Need some water. Okay. So now that I have, I'm ready to teach here. I'm going to tilt this down. You know I always do. I kind of have some springy decoration here, some flowers on my shirt. I love this shirt. And I have a hair on my shirt too. I need to take off. All right, so this is Chicken Sunday. If you have paper or a whiteboard or something like that, go ahead, get that out. Let's get ready. Next week, we're going to do some activities where we will need art supplies again. And I will let you know when we need those. So here we go. Chicken Sunday. And we have to underline it because we hand wrote the title. We also have to give credit where credit is due. So I did not write this text. It is by Patricia Polacco. Oh, 1 L, 2 C's. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I am going to make a T-chart. And it's called a T-chart because it literally resembles the letter T. Ta-da! On this side, I am going to put places in the text. And then over here, I'm going to write my response and connections that I can make. And did you see that I was, again, verbally thinking aloud? I was saying things as I was reading this. So I'm going to be able to go back and I'm going to jot down some of those connections. You can do this while you're reading a text. Stop and write as you come up with it to help you comprehend what it is that you're reading. Or you can wait, go back and do it at the end again. Up to you. I chose to do it at the end because I just wanted it to read so that we didn't lose the focus of the text that we were reading at that point. So I made a connection here about the fried chicken. So this is going to be, let's say, page, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put page 4, and then I'm going to show you, do I have space and time to write this entire page? No, I don't. So I'm just going to show this first paragraph. We call those Sundays Chicken Sundays because Miss Eula almost always fried chicken for dinner. So I'm going to show you a way that you can write and show some text and summarize, I guess, show that you are directly quoting a text without writing all the words. So I'm going to start. I'm going to put quotation marks. That means that these are Patricia Polacco's words. They are not mine. It says, we called those Sundays. And then I don't want to write anymore because, I can see that this is the sentence I'm writing. I'm going to put 3 little dots. Those are called ellipses. And that shows there's some more words in the middle. The thought continues. And then I'm going to end my sentence with the last 2 words, for dinner. End quote. We call those Sundays, ... And then we know that the dots mean chicken Sundays because Miss Eula always fried chicken for dinner. And then over here, I'm going to make my connection. So I'm going to make a text to self connection. And I'm going to say, this year, I am frying chicken for Easter Sunday dinner. And then my reasoning behind it, again, usually my family, we eat ham or, something like that, or turkey, on Easter dinner. But because my whole family's not going to be together, this year I'm frying chicken for Easter Sunday dinner because I want it to be special for my husband and me. So there is my connection to that entry. Okay. The comment that I made. I'm going to draw a line. Okay. So I made a connection, and then I put my reasoning behind that connection too. All right. So now I can, let's see. I'm moving along. And I am here. I'm going to make a comment about the eggs. Okay. So this is on page, let me see, this was page 4. So now we could say 5, 6. Could you do one for every single page? Absolutely. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So page 12. And I am going to talk about the eggs. And this is when she realized that she could show Mr. Kadinsky, connect to him, and show him that they are good boys and girls, like Miss Eula wanted them to, but also to give him a gift in his day to make him happy, which we've really been trying very hard to do right now. See, when they made those eggs. So really, I could say this is page 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 12 through 16. And I'm just going to kind of summarize it, and we can say the children made, and what were these eggs called? He called them Pysantsky eggs. And I'm going to put Pysantsky in, Pysantsky eggs for Mr. Kodinsky, right? So as you can see, I didn't put a direct quote here. I just kind of summarized this is what they're doing. But why? Now, why did they do that? I can say my response to this, it is a response / text to world. It's a text to world connection. It is important to bring joy to others. And then what is our text to world right now? We are trying hard to bring, let me move this chair again. Right now, we are trying very hard to bring joy to others during this time of crisis. I'll say our crisis, because we really are. We're all in this together, aren't we? Okay, now let's see if we can maybe do one more. So I'm flipping through again. I'm looking. And now the children, we know that they worked very, very hard. So they worked hard to try to earn the money for Miss Eula. But Mr. Kadinsky said, no, children, you're going to save your money. He probably wanted to do that all along. He just wanted them to see that what they have come up with, other people will want. So I'm going to say, let's see. So that was page 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'll say page 21. And this is where he is quoted. He says, keep your money, children, he said softly. I've seen Miss Eula admire this. It is for her, isn't it? Tell her I know you are very good children, such good children. So I'm going to put where he says, keep your money, comma, children. And then I'm going to put dot, dot, dots to show that even though that's the end of a sentence, I'm continuing the quote that he is giving. And I'm going to continue that whole quote section to such good children. And remember, I have to put quotations around that, even though I've not written the entire part. These are not my words. These are the author, Patricia Polacco's. We have to honor her. So now I'm going to say that maybe it's not a connection, but my response to this. I'm just going to put a response. And I'm going to say, so this is kind of the theme. My response is, and I have a theme up here. We're trying to bring joy to others during this crisis. That's true. But giving to others makes your, you see that okay? Yep. Heart. How? How does it make your heart? Makes your heart happy? I hope it makes your heart happy when you give to others. So, look at his face. He's giving. He's happy. And then, look at this. Those children were so thrilled to be giving something to Miss Eula to honor her for all that she was giving them. So, double entry journals. I just did 3 quickly here. You can do so many more. Like I said, if you want to do one for every single page, go for it to help you comprehend the text that you're reading. You can do this as I did. I did some connections. I just did some, I did some responses. I did, there's kind of a theme. There's another theme. Gets my brain working. So on that note, I hope you have a wonderful Easter. I will see you next week. Try to enjoy it. I know around here Easter Sunday is supposed to be pretty rainy, but I think tomorrow is supposed to be pretty, and today is a beautiful day. It's just kind of chilly out. I hope you can go out and enjoy your days. I hope you are working very, very hard at home. Keep working. I'm proud of you. You are smart. Keep reading, and I will see you on Monday. 2 little poodles. Goodbye. Try to do one of these on your own.